Welcome to the North Versailles Public Library. Today we're going to be reading you a story time by the Berenstain Bears books, and today it's called Big Family Album. And we have permission to read this book to you today by HarperCollins Publishers. And there's a little poem here that I'm going to read before we start the book. A family is like a tree whose branches spread above, with fruit and blossom, year by year, grown from roots of love. Now we're ready to start the story. Brother, sister, and Honey Bear knew there was always a warm welcome waiting for them at Grizzly Gramps and Gran's house. And, of course, it was just a short bike ride away. So one lazy Saturday afternoon, the cubs found themselves happily pedaling along to visit their grandparents. "Why, hello there, Grandcubs," said Gramps warmly as he opened the door to the ring of the bell. "You're just in time." "Just in time for what?" asked Sister hopefully. A yummy smell wafted down the hall from the kitchen. The cubs hoped they were just in time to gobble down whatever it was that Gran was cooking. "I can see you're getting a nose full of Gran's fresh-baked honey nut cake," said Gramps with a laugh. "There'll be plenty of time for that later. Right now I need you to help carry all this stuff up to the attic." He pointed to a pile of boxes and baskets in the hall. The cubs' hearts sank. It was a lot of stuff, and Gran's honey nut cake smelled so good. "Work before pleasure," said Gramps, hoisting a box over his shoulder and climbing the stairs two at a time. "Lend a hand." The cubs knew better than to argue with Gramps when he was in chore-doing mode. Hefting the boxes and baskets, they lugged them behind Gramps. At the top of the attic stairs, they set their burdens down with a groan. Gramps was bustling about, raising clouds of dust as he shifted trunks and boxes to make room. He came across an old leather-bound book and plopped it down on a table. "Here," he said, "take a look at this. You might find it interesting." "What? Achoo! What is it?" said Brother, sneezing mightily from all the dust. "It's our Bear family album," said Gramps. "It's the history of who we are and where we come from." Curious, the cubs opened the musty volume. The first pages showed a big tree with bears perched all over it. "What's this?" said Sister. "That's our family tree," said Gramps. "The earliest members of the family are down at the roots and the rest are out on the branches. It shows how we're all related to each other." "Wow," said Brother. "This guy down here is from the 1700s. That's over 200 years ago." Yep, said Gramps. "That's my great-great-great-grandfather, Hezekiah Grizzly, who first settled in Bear Country." Gramps turned the dusty pages. "Here's a sketch of Hezekiah with his wife Abigail," he said. They saw a bear with a long beard wearing a coonskin cap. His wife had a wide bonnet. A log cabin stood in the background. "Why is it a drawing and not a photo?" asked Brother. "This was before cameras were even invented," explained Gramps. "If you wanted a picture back then, an artist had to make it." "Oh," said Brother thoughtfully. It seemed strange that he could be related to anyone who lived so long ago. As they flipped through the album, they came to yellowed photos of bears in funny old costumes. "I guess cameras were invented by now," said Sister. "Right," said Gramps. "This is Great Uncle Morris, who was in the cavalry in the Great Bear War." They saw a mustached bear in uniform sitting on a horse and holding a sword. Cavalry?" repeated Sister. "Cavalry," corrected Gramps. "It means soldiers on horses." Next came a burly bear wearing an apron and holding a big hammer. "That's Great-Grandpa Harry. He was a blacksmith," said Gramps. "That means he made things out of iron. He was very strong." "Look at his arms," said Brother. "They're huge." A picture nearby showed a frail-looking bear wearing a shawl and holding a book. "This is Aunt Emily," said Gramps. "She was a poet. See? Here's one of her poems." A poem was pasted in the album. "I'm a bear. Who are you? Are you a bear too? Then there's a pair of us. Don't tell. They'd advertise, you know. Weird, said Brother, scratching his head. As they came to the end of the album, the Cubs found it was all about them. It was full of pictures of Brother, Sister, and Honey from their baby days right up to the present. You Cubs are the latest chapter of the Bear family story, for now, said Gramps. But, he added, we can always add more pages when you Cubs grow up and have cubs of your own. Cubs of our own, repeated Sister with a gulp. Brother thought about it. It was a little hard to imagine. You can mull that over for a while, said Gramps, smiling. But enough family history. Come along. We'll join Gran downstairs. He led them back down to the kitchen where Gran was laying out 5 plates of toasty, warm honey nut cake. It was just the thing to satisfy the hunger of a bunch of hard-working, deep-thinking young bears. Have a great day. That's all we have for you today.